Hi everybody, this is Jennifer with Northwest Stamper, and you may have heard that Stampin' Up! Has come out with a new type of stamp, these photopolymer completely clear stamps. And so I wanted to go ahead and show you today a little bit more about these stamps so you can kind of get a feel for how these are different from the stamps you may have seen before from Stampin' Up! So here's just a couple of ideas, some quick projects I made, whether it's taking the banner shape and stamping it over your pattern paper and cutting it out, or making a full card that uses the words here, so you build your letters, have the little accents, and using the banner showing that you can make it in this nice curved shape, even though you'll see in the stamp set that it comes straight. So let's show you a little bit more about these stamps so you can kind of get an idea of what you're getting into. So this is how they come. They come in this little plastic sleeve. It shows you on the back, that's kind of interesting here, it shows you the different types of clear blocks that you'll want to use. It shows you the F and the I are the two biggest blocks that we have, and that's because really it's for this big pennant set because it is pretty darn long, so it's going to take up most of that block, and you'll see when I play with this in a minute. So you open up your packaging and you pull it out, and it comes with two plastic pieces, so it kind of peels apart. You can peel off the top plastic. You want to keep it, but just sort of set it aside, and that's going to show you your actual stamps. Now you'll notice that you see these lines, and so you can see all the letters and the outlines. That's just on this plastic piece. So as you peel it up, you'll see the lines stay here, but they're not on your stamp. Now mine, I tried this out, so it's a little bit stained, but these don't have any markings on them at all. And I will warn you, when I first opened my case and the first few times after you open this package and you peel it off, this has a very strong smell. So if you have sensitivities to odors, you'll want to open this up or air it out somewhere where it's well ventilated, because it does have a very strong smell. I do notice that it's dissipated over time, so it's not too bad, but just something to be aware of. Now this is photopolymer. It's a plastic, and so it's not your hard rubber, but one of the benefits of that, I guess we'll play with the pennant here first, is it's flexible, so you can take your stamp and wiggle it around however you want. Somebody asked me about what this feels like. It's like a really soft plastic. It's a little bit, it's tacky, so it will stay on your blocks. You don't have to do anything. There's no stickers that comes with this to place on. So you can, I have this block which is a little bit smaller than our blocks, and so you can put it on and you can see, you can get your straight line image, which is nice, but for good or for bad, it's also flexible, which is awesome if you want a slightly curved shape, but at the same time it also means you have lots of wiggle room that if you try to do it straight, it can kind of wiggle on you. So if you're particularly particular about how you want your stamps to be, where the rubber doesn't move, it doesn't have this flexibility, in this case you'll probably want to get the Stampin' Up! Sells a little sheet that covers your clear blocks that has grid lines. I would highly recommend getting that if you're going to care a lot about alignment, because these are going to be really easy to have when they're a long stamp like this to go down just a little bit skewed. So that would probably be a good investment for you. So as you can see, they just stick down, and it's pretty tacky, so you can peel it up and pull it down as much as you want, and get it in the shapes and the formats you want. I'll show you one question that I had when I got these was the difference between using the Stampin' Up! Old style stamp pads and the new style stamp pads. And so I'll just go ahead and show you I had heard people say that these should work well with both styles. I found that they do work, but there's definitely a difference. So let me open these up and show you what I'm talking about. So right here we have the new style, and right here we have the old style. These are both early espresso ink pads, and this is the arrow. There you go, you can see the arrow stamp image. So with your old style, you do the twist, twist, tap, tap, and when you ink it up, you'll see that the color is there, but it's not going to look as dark as you would expect, like from a rubber stamp. When you do the rubber, you really see that dark image. It doesn't look as dark. So we'll stamp this one. Stamp that. And it gives you a pretty good image, and maybe a little hard to see. And then I'll go ahead and stamp with the firm foam. I feel like the firm foam picks up just a little bit better. You might be able to see it came out a little bit darker on my stamp. And then as I go to ink and do the image, it just comes out a little bit crisper. I know this is really hard to see on the video camera, but this will show you. If you have the old style, it's going to work just fine. If you have the new style, it's going to work just fine and just a little bit better. Okay. Once you've used your stamp, you may wonder, is cleaning the same? And the answer is yes. You're still going to use your scrub pads, and you're still going to use your stamp cleaner. You're just going to spray a little cleaner, do a little scrubbing, do a little drying, and you should be good to go. Now if your scrub pads are a little bit dirty like mine are, you may not get quite as perfect of a result, but that works. Now I did find, for the most part, when you clean these, they come out and they look clear and clean again. However, once you have them back, so once you're done, you just put them back on their little outline so you know that if you are missing any. You'll see, let me see if I can put a piece of paper behind this so it's a little bit clearer. It's a little bit, it can be a little bit tinged and a little bit stained compared to a stamp that is brand new. So be aware as you use them, they're going to stain, but it's not going to transfer. It's just something that you probably would never have noticed with rubber, because rubber is a solid color image, or a solid color material, and this is that more clear material. So you can see that, maybe you can see that I've used some of the letters so they're slightly different tinge, but it's not going to impact my stamping, and it doesn't bother me too much. So the benefit for using these, one of the things that people really love about them, is the fact that because they are completely clear, you can do things like see exactly where you're stamping. So if you were going to say, maybe you want to write party in here because you were going to party this way, you can pick up these individual letters. You can see they're very small. Here is my fingertip. There is my stamp on my fingertip. It's very small. So try to do this on a big table so that you have less of a chance of it falling on the floor and that you have to go find it, because that would be just a little bit of a challenge. So I'll use, so when it's on your block, it's kind of hard to see what you're doing, but as soon as you ink it up, suddenly your letter pops out a little bit better. And so you can much more easily see where you're stamping. And you can push, stamp, and get very precise placement without having to worry about using your Stamp-A-Majig, things like that. So for that, this is great. So anything where, I'm going to love this for alphabets, anything where you are going to really be finicky, really want to line things up, this is going to be great. Now, The one downside that I see to these stamps is that when you go to press your image, these are interesting. These all have, and you don't think about it when you see it, but these, here, let me do this. There, that makes it easier to see, doesn't it? The one thing about these is that they're all actually kind of a thick line compared to some line art images you may have seen. And I think that works to the advantage of this style of stamp, because when you press down, you will notice as you press that this image, the lines, they squeeze out just a little bit. So the compression of pressing down this rubber actually can malform it just a little bit. So if you have a stamp image that is a very fine line, this style of stamp is probably not going to be your best friend because you're going to get that distortion. Any of these where it's a little bit of a thicker shape, you'll be able to do your stamping and not have too much of a problem. The one last thing I was going to cover was the question, can I put all of my letters together at one time instead of doing P-A-R-T-Y? Sure, you can do that. You're not going to have as close of an image. So I'm going to go ahead and put all of my letters on here for party just to give you a chance to see the difference. Okay, have my word all here. Let's ink it up and see how this goes. And there you can see there's the difference if you have them all separated. Now let's try them one at a time. Ta-da! So there is my party or party. So that's the difference you get if you try to stick them right next to each other versus all stamping them one at a time. So depending on the look you're going for and how close you don't mind them being together, you can get that variation. So I've talked about cleaning these. Clean them with your Stampin' Mist or another dye-based ink cleaner. You can use them with StazOn ink, but please do not use your StazOn ink cleaner. That bottle that has the little foam tip that you rub on your StazOn inked up stamps, that can damage the plastic of these stamps. So you want to stay away from the StazOn cleaner. So there's your brief introduction. If you have any questions or you have more things you'd like to see with these stamps, let me know. Leave a comment here on my YouTube page or on my blog, or just shoot me an email at jennifer@nwstamper.com, and I will be happy to put more information and tutorials together to show you what there is to know and try with these stamps. So thanks so much and have a great day.